Alana's hands trembled as she pressed them against the polished mahogany door, her dark brown eyes squeezed shut against the tears threatening to fall. On the other side, she could hear the sharp, venomous voice of Irina Kozlov still echoing in her mind, each word a carefully aimed blade designed to cut deep. "Your kind doesn't belong here," the older woman had said. Her pale lips curled in disgust as she'd looked Alana up and down. "I don't care what my son thinks he's doing, bringing street trash into our world." Now, in the empty hallway of the Kozlov Hotel's executive floor, Alana fought to steady her breathing. She needed this job. Her daughter needed her to keep this job. But how could she face Viktor Kozlov and tell him that his own mother had just destroyed everything? "Please don't fire me," she whispered to the silence, her voice breaking on the last word. "Please." What Alana didn't know was that Viktor stood on the other side of another door, one that connected to the room through a private passage, and he had heard everything. Not just her whispered plea, but every single word his mother had said before it. The storm gathering in his ice-blue eyes would have terrified anyone who knew what it meant when Viktor Kozlov went silent. What will happen when Viktor confronts his mother? Can Alana survive in a world where she's not welcome? Keep watching to discover how one overheard moment changes everything. 3 weeks earlier, Alana Price had been running late for her first day at the Kozlov Grand Hotel, her natural curls still damp from the rushed shower, her uniform borrowed from a co-worker who'd quit the week before. The fabric pulled slightly across her hips, but it would have to do until she received her own. She'd been so focused on memorizing the room numbers on the executive floor that she didn't see the man stepping out of the elevator until she'd crashed directly into his chest. "I'm so sorry, The words died in her throat as she looked up and up into the coldest blue eyes she'd ever seen. The man was tall, easily 6'3", with sharp Slavic features that looked like they'd been carved from ice. His black suit probably cost more than Alana made in 6 months, and the way he carried himself, shoulders back, chin slightly raised, every movement controlled, screamed danger in a language that transcended words. "Watch where you're going," he said, his voice carrying the faintest trace of a Russian accent, smooth as aged vodka and just as likely to burn. Alana stepped back quickly, clutching her cleaning caddy to her chest like a shield. "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir." Something flickered in those ice-blue eyes as they traveled over her face, lingering for just a moment on the natural curls framing her warm brown skin, the curve of her full lips, the defiant tilt of her chin despite her apologetic words. "For you're new," he stated rather than asked. "First day," Alana confirmed, forcing herself to meet his gaze even though every instinct screamed at her to look away from this predator in expensive clothing. "What's your name?" "Alana Price, sir." He nodded once, a sharp, economical movement. "I'm Viktor Kozlov. I own this hotel." His eyes narrowed slightly. "That uniform doesn't fit." Heat flooded Alana's cheeks. Of course he would notice. Of course, on her first day, she'd crashed into the actual owner, looking like she'd borrowed clothes from someone else's closet, because that's exactly what she'd done. "I'll get my proper uniform tomorrow, Mr. Kozlov. I apologize for—" "Don't apologize for things that aren't your fault," he interrupted. And there was something almost sharp in his tone, like he found her apology offensive. "Tell Svetlana in HR that I said to expedite your uniforms, 3 sets, properly fitted." Before Alana could respond, he was striding past her down the hallway, his phone already at his ear, speaking rapid-fire Russian to someone on the other end. Alana stood frozen for a full minute, her heart hammering against her ribs for reasons that had nothing to do with nearly losing her job on day 1. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of work that left Alana's body aching, but her bank account finally, blessedly, starting to stabilize. The Kozlov Grand Hotel paid better than anywhere else she'd worked, and the tips, even for housekeeping staff, were generous. She saw Viktor Kozlov exactly 3 more times in those 2 weeks. The first time, he was coming out of the executive conference room with 5 men in suits who looked like they could break bones as easily as shaking hands. His eyes had found her immediately, tracked her movement down the hallway, even as he continued his conversation in Russian. When she'd finished cleaning the room across from them and turned to leave, she'd found a $100 bill tucked under the cleaning caddy. The second time, she'd been in the supply closet on the executive floor, reaching for the top shelf where someone had stupidly stored the luxury towels. She'd been on her tiptoes, fingers just brushing the Egyptian cotton, when a large hand had reached past her and pulled down the entire stack. "You should ask for help instead of risking injury," Victor had said, his voice coming from directly behind her, so close she could smell his cologne, something expensive and woodsy that made her think of winter forests and dark nights. "I can manage, Mr. Kozlov," she'd said, turning to find herself trapped between the shelving unit and his broad chest. "I'm sure you can," he'd replied, those ice-blue eyes studying her face with an intensity that made her skin prickle with awareness. "But you don't have to." He'd stepped back then, giving her space to breathe, to escape. But as she'd hurried past him, arms full of towels, she'd felt his gaze following her like a physical touch. The third time changed everything. Alana had been cleaning the penthouse suite, Victor's personal residence that took up the entire top floor of the hotel. She'd been told by Svetlana that Mr. Kozlov was out of the country on business, and the suite needed deep cleaning. She'd been dusting the floor-to-ceiling bookshelves in his study when she'd noticed the photographs. Most were formal, Victor with various stern-looking men in suits, Victor cutting ribbons at building openings, Victor shaking hands with people who looked like politicians. But one photograph, smaller and tucked to the side, had caught her attention. It showed a much younger Victor, maybe 16 or 17, with his arm around a girl about the same age. Both were smiling, actually smiling, not the cold, controlled expression Alana had seen on Victor's face, and the girl had flowers in her hair. "That was my sister, Katya." Alana spun around so fast she nearly knocked over the entire shelf. Victor stood in the doorway of the study, jacket off, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with muscle and marked with scars. "I'm sorry, I wasn't snooping. I was just dusting and—" "Alana?" Her name in his accented voice made something warm unfurl in her chest. "Breathe." She sucked in air, realizing she'd been holding her breath. Victor moved into the room with that predatory grace she'd noticed before, every step deliberate. He picked up the photograph, his thumb brushing over the glass. "She died when I was 19, he said quietly. "Car accident. Drunk driver ran a red light." "I'm so sorry," Alana whispered, meaning it. Victor set the photograph down carefully, then turned those ice-blue eyes on her. "Do you have family, Alana Price?" The question was personal, intimate in a way that probably violated several workplace boundaries. But something in his face, a crack in that icy facade, made her answer honestly. "A daughter. Lily. She's 6. "The father?" "Gone before she was born." Alana lifted her chin. "We're better off without him." Victor nodded slowly, and she could have sworn she saw approval in his eyes. "You're a good mother. I can tell." "You don't know anything about me," Alana said, then immediately regretted her bold tone when Victor's eyebrow arched. But instead of the anger she expected, the corner of his mouth twitched, not quite a smile, but close. "I know you work 3 jobs to pay for your daughter's school. I know you give your lunch breaks to the homeless woman who sits outside the hotel's side entrance. I know you cover shifts for co-workers even when you're exhausted because they have emergencies." He took a step closer. "I make it my business to know things, Alana, especially about people who interest me." Her pulse thundered in her ears. "Why would I interest you?" Victor reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and gently tucked a curl behind her ear. His fingers lingered against her cheek for just a moment, and Alana felt that touch like electricity racing through her entire body. "Because you crashed into me 3 weeks ago, looked me in the eye without fear, and something inside me that's been frozen for a very long time started to thaw." Before Alana could process that confession, before she could respond or run or do anything rational, Victor's phone buzzed. He stepped back immediately, the moment shattered, his expression shuttering back into that cold mask. "Finish the cleaning," he said, his voice once again the impersonal tone of an employer, "and take tomorrow off. Paid." He was gone before she could argue, leaving Alana standing in his study with her heart racing and her mind spinning. That had been yesterday. This morning she'd arrived at work to find a message from Svetlana. Mr. Kozlov's mother, Irina, wanted to speak with her immediately. Executive office, 9th floor. Alana had assumed it was about some complaint with her work, maybe a towel folded incorrectly, or a corner not dusted properly. She'd been nervous but not afraid. She should have been afraid. Victor's mother has summoned Alana, and nothing could have prepared her for what comes next. Will Victor's growing feelings for Alana survive his mother's hatred? Continue watching to see how far Irina will go to destroy what's building between them. Irina Kozlov was everything Alana had expected and worse. The woman sat behind an antique desk in an office that screamed old money, her silver hair pulled back in a severe bun, her pale skin stretched tight over sharp cheekbones. She wore a cream Chanel suit that probably cost more than Alana's car, and diamonds glittered at her throat and wrists. But it was her eyes, the same ice blue as Victor's, but without any of the hidden warmth Alana had glimpsed, that made Alana's stomach sink. "Sit," Irina commanded, not bothering with pleasantries. Alana sat in the chair across from the desk, her back straight, hands folded in her lap. Irina studied her for a long moment, those cold eyes traveling over Alana's face, her hair, her uniform, with obvious distaste. "My son has been showing you inappropriate attention," Irina finally said, her English perfect but heavily accented. "I don't know what you—" "Don't insult my intelligence by lying." Irina's voice could have cut glass. "Victor has been distracted. And you, girl, are the distraction." "Girl," the word dripped with condescension. "Mrs. Kozlov, I've done nothing wrong. I do my job, You exist," Irina interrupted. "That is what you've done wrong. You exist where you shouldn't, breathing air you haven't earned. Catching the eye of a man so far above your station, he might as well be on another planet." Heat flooded Alana's face, but she forced herself to keep her voice steady. "With all due respect, ma'am, Mr. Kozlov has been nothing but professional—" "Professional?" Irina laughed, a harsh sound devoid of humor. "My son has never been professional with women. He uses them and discards them. But you—" She leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "You're different, and that makes you dangerous. I'm not trying to be anything to your son except a good employee. Liar." The word cracked like a whip. "I see how you look at him. I see that little gleam in your eye, that hope that maybe, just maybe, you could climb out of your poverty by spreading your legs for the right man." Alana shot to her feet, anger overriding caution. "I am not—" "Sit down." Irina's voice dropped to a lethal whisper. "You will sit, and you will listen, because I am about to explain to you exactly where you fit in this world." Something in the woman's tone made Alana's blood run cold. She sat. "My family came from nothing," Irina began, her fingers drumming against the desk. "Absolute poverty in Russia. My father built an empire through blood and sacrifice. My husband, Victor's father, expanded that empire into something legendary. And my son inherited not just wealth, but power. True power." She paused. "Do you understand what power means, girl?" Alana said nothing. "Power means choosing who rises and who falls. Power means your comfort, your security. Your very existence depends on the whims of people like me." Irina smiled, and it was the cruelest thing Alana had ever seen. "People like you, poor, uneducated black, you exist to serve people like us. That is the natural order." The words hung in the air like poison. "You can't possibly believe—" Alana started, her voice shaking with fury. "I believe in reality," Irina cut in. "And the reality is that Victor needs a woman of his own class, his own world, someone who understands the life, the responsibilities, the dangers, not some—" She waved her hand dismissively. "Some cleaning woman who thinks scrubbing toilets qualifies her to be part of our family. I never said—" "You didn't have to say anything. I see it in how you carry yourself around him. I see it in the way you light up when he enters a room." Irina stood, moving around the desk like a predator circling prey. "Victor is fascinated by you the way a child is fascinated by a stray dog. He wants to pet it, feed it, keep it. But eventually, that dog will be discarded for something more appropriate." Tears burned behind Alana's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She wouldn't give this woman the satisfaction. "I'm not going anywhere," Alana said quietly. "I need this job, Mrs. Kozlov. I have a daughter to support. Whatever you think is happening between your son and me, it's not." He's my employer, that's all. Oh, my dear, Irina's smile widened. You misunderstand. I'm not asking you to leave Victor alone. I'm telling you that you're fired. The world tilted. You can't. I can do whatever I want. This is my family's hotel. You are replaceable. Irina returned to her desk, pulled out a folder, and slid it across to Alana. This is a severance package. 2 weeks' pay. Very generous, considering you've only been here a few weeks. Alana stared at the folder like it was a snake. Why? Because my son has a weakness for broken things. He sees you, poor, struggling, raising a child alone, and his savior complex activates. Irina's voice dropped to something almost sympathetic, which somehow made it worse. But Victor needs to marry within his world. There's a young woman, Anastasia Volkov, daughter of one of our most important associates. She and Victor were practically betrothed as children. This distraction with you threatens an alliance that's been 20 years in the making. So you're firing me to protect a business deal? I'm protecting my son's future, Irina corrected. And yes, our business interests. In our world, they're the same thing. Alana stood slowly, her legs shaking. Does Victor know you're doing this? Victor is in Moscow for the next 3 days. By the time he returns, you'll be gone, and he'll have forgotten all about the pretty little maid who caught his eye for 5 minutes. Irina's expression hardened. Take the severance, be smart. Use it to find work somewhere else, somewhere far from my son. And if I refuse? If I tell Victor what you've done? Irina's laugh was genuinely amused this time. Oh, sweetheart, you think my son will choose you over me, over his family, his business, his entire world? She shook her head. Victor is many things, but at his core, he is a Kozlov, and Kozlovs protect the family empire above all else, even above heart. The word heart dripped with mockery. Alana wanted to argue, to fight, to scream at this horrible woman. But the truth was she had no leverage, no power, nothing except her dignity. I won't take your money, she said quietly, leaving the folder untouched on the desk. Irina shrugged. Suit yourself. Either way, you're terminated. Security will escort you out. You have 1 hour to collect your things. Why do you hate me? Alana asked suddenly. Is it really just because I'm poor? Or is it because I'm black? For the first time, something like emotion flickered across Irina's face. But it wasn't shame or regret. It was disdain so pure it made Alana's skin crawl. I hate you, Irina said slowly, because you represent everything that could destroy my son's carefully constructed life. Your poverty, your color, your illegitimate child. All of it makes you unsuitable, and unsuitable things must be removed. She turned her back, dismissing Alana like trash. Now get out of my office, and stay away from Victor. Alana walked out on shaking legs, her vision blurred with unshed tears. She made it to the elevator, rode it down to the staff locker room, and gathered her few personal items in a daze. It was only when she was standing in the empty hallway outside Victor's penthouse, she'd come up one last time, she told herself, just to see it, that the tears finally came. And that's when she'd pressed her hands against the mahogany door and whispered, Please don't fire me. Not knowing Victor was already there, not knowing he'd heard everything. The door opened so suddenly that Alana stumbled forward with a gasp. Strong hands caught her before she could fall, and she looked up through tear-blurred eyes into Victor Kozlov's face. Except this wasn't the controlled, icy man she'd come to know. This Victor looked like a storm made flesh, jaw clenched so tight she could see the muscle jumping, eyes blazing with a fury that made her instinctively step back. But his hands on her arms were gentle, steady. How much did you hear? His voice was deadly quiet. Alana's mouth worked soundlessly. You're supposed to be in Moscow. Your mother said... I know what my mother said. I heard every fucking word. His accent thickened with his anger, the consonants sharper. I was in the connecting room. I came back early to surprise you. Wanted to. It doesn't matter. His hands moved from her arms to frame her face, thumbs brushing away her tears with a tenderness that nearly broke her. Are you hurt? The question was so unexpected that Alana let out a laugh that was half sob. Am I hurt? Victor, Your mother just fired me and told me I was too poor and too black to be anywhere near you, and you're asking if I'm— You're not fired. His voice cut through her rising hysteria. My mother has no authority to terminate employees. I do, and you're not fired. But she said— She lied. Victor's jaw clenched tighter. My mother has been overstepping for a long time. This ends now. He pulled out his phone, never releasing his hold on Alana's face with his other hand, and made a call. When someone answered, he spoke in rapid Russian, his tone leaving no room for argument. Alana caught her own name, his mother's name, and several words that sounded decidedly uncomplimentary. When he hung up, his ice-blue eyes met hers. I've called a family meeting. Immediately. You're coming with me. Victor, no, this is between you and your mother. I should just— Run? He shook his head. That's what she wants. For you to disappear so I can forget about you and marry whoever she's chosen like a good little heir. His thumb traced her cheekbone. But I don't want to forget about you, Alana. I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since you crashed into me, wearing that too small uniform with your chin up like a queen. Alana's heart hammered. This is crazy. We barely know each other. And your mother is right about one thing. We're from completely different worlds. So? Victor's voice dropped to something intimate. I've lived in my world my entire life. It's cold, Alana. It's calculated and ruthless and empty. Then you walked into it with your warmth and your strength and your refusal to be intimidated, and suddenly I could breathe again. Victor, I know this is fast. I know it's insane. He leaned his forehead against hers, and Alana felt the tension vibrating through his large frame. But in my life, you learn to take what you want when you see it. And I see you, Alana Price. I see your courage, your dignity, your love for your daughter. I see everything my mother tried to make invisible. She said terrible things, Alana whispered. About me, about black people, about— I know, and she will answer for every single word. Victor pulled back, his expression hardening into something that reminded Alana exactly who and what he was. No one speaks to you that way. No one, not even my own blood. He took her hand, his large, scarred, dangerous hand engulfing her smaller one, and led her to the elevator. Alana's mind screamed at her to refuse, to walk away, to protect herself from the inevitable fallout of this clash of worlds. But her heart, her stupid, hopeful heart, made her follow. The elevator descended to the 9th floor, and Victor led her down the hallway to the executive conference room. Through the glass walls, Alana could see Irina already seated at the head of the table, along with 3 men in expensive suits who radiated the same dangerous authority as Victor. Who are they? Alana asked nervously. My uncles, Dmitri, Alexei, and Sergei, the family council. Victor squeezed her hand. Stay close to me. Don't speak unless you want to, and know that I won't let anyone hurt you again. The promise in his voice made something fierce and warm bloom in Alana's chest. Victor pushed open the door, and every eye in the room turned to them. Irina's face went white, then red, then settled into a mask of cold fury. Victor, she said icily, you were supposed to be in Moscow. Change of plans. Victor pulled out the chair next to his at the opposite end of the table from his mother, and waited for Alana to sit before taking his own seat. We need to talk, Mother. Not in front of the help. Her name is Alana Price. Victor's voice could have frozen fire. And she's not just an employee, she's the woman I'm seeing, so she stays. The silence that followed was deafening. Dmitri, the oldest uncle with steel-grey hair and a scar across his cheek, leaned back in his chair. Well, this is unexpected. This is unacceptable, Irina hissed. Victor, this girl is completely unsuitable. This woman, Victor corrected sharply, is the first person in years who's made me feel like something more than a weapon you point at your enemies. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic. Victor's hand slammed on the table, making everyone except Alana jump. You fired her, Mother. You humiliated her, belittled her, used racial slurs. I said nothing that wasn't true. You said everything designed to drive her away because you're terrified of losing control over me. Victor leaned forward, his voice dropping to something lethal. But here's what you don't understand. You lost that control the moment you made me choose between your approval and my own humanity. Irina stood, her chair scraping against the floor. I am your mother. I have sacrificed everything for this family, and I am grateful for that. Victor stood as well, meeting her glare with one of his own. But that doesn't give you the right to abuse people under my protection. It doesn't give you the right to fire my employees out of spite, and it sure as hell doesn't give you the right to tell me who I can and can't care about. This is about the Volkov Alliance. The Volkov Alliance is business. This is my life. Victor's voice rang with finality, and I'm done living it according to your script. Alexei, who looked like a younger version of Victor with the same ice-blue eyes, cleared his throat. Victor, you understand what you're doing? Dating outside the organization? It complicates things. I'm aware. And dating a black woman from poverty? Sergei added, not unkindly. The old guard won't accept it. There will be consequences. Let them come. Victor glanced at Alana, and something in his expression softened. I've spent my entire life building empires and crushing enemies. I'm tired of conquering everything except my own loneliness. Alana's breath caught. This dangerous man, this king of the underworld, was exposing himself completely in front of his family. For her. Victor, she said quietly, finding her voice. You don't have to do this. Your mother is right that we barely know each other. You shouldn't burn bridges with your family for what? For a woman who shows me kindness without wanting anything in return? For someone who looks at me and sees a person, not a title or a bank account? Victor turned to face her fully. Alana, I've had women throw themselves at me my entire adult life. Beautiful women, rich women, connected women. And every single one saw me as a prize to be won. You saw me as a person who might understand grief because I keep my sister's picture in my study. The room was silent. Dmitri spoke up, his voice surprisingly gentle. What do you want, Victor? I want my mother to apologize to Alana. Genuinely apologize for every hateful thing she said. Victor's eyes never left his mother's face. And then I want her to never interfere in my personal life again. Irina's lips pressed into a thin line. You would humiliate me like this, in front of my brothers? You humiliated yourself when you revealed that you're more concerned with appearances than with your own son's happiness. Victor's voice held a note of sadness now. I love you, Mother, but I won't let you poison everything I try to build outside of this organization. She's using you, Irina said, but her voice had lost some of its conviction. Girls like that always want something. I want him to be happy, Alana said, surprising herself with her boldness. That's all. Irina's gaze snapped to her. You expect me to believe... I don't expect you to believe anything, Alana continued, her voice steady even though her hands were shaking under the table. You've already decided who I am based on my skin color and my bank account, but I'm going to tell you something anyway. I'm a good mother. I work 3 jobs because I'm proud and I don't want charity. I value education and honesty and kindness. And yes, your son interests me. Not because of his money or his power, but because underneath all that ice, I see someone who understands loss, someone who's lonely despite being surrounded by people, someone worthy of being loved for exactly who he is, not what he can do for others. She stood, meeting Irina's shocked expression with calm dignity. So you can keep your apology, Mrs. Kozlov. I don't need it. But your son deserves better than a mother who puts business alliances above his heart. Alana turned to Victor. I appreciate you defending me, but I won't be the cause of a family war. I'll resign. No. Victor stood beside her. You'll stay. And either my mother accepts that, or she can find another hotel to run. Irina gasped. You would choose her over me? I'm choosing myself over your control. Victor's voice was firm. If that means choosing her too, then yes, absolutely. The silence stretched for an eternity. Then Dmitri started laughing. Actually laughing, a deep belly laugh that made everyone turn to stare at him. What's funny? Irina demanded. You, Dmitri said, wiping his eyes. You've spent 30 years molding Victor into the perfect heir, cold, calculating, ruthless. And now you're upset that he's showing the same steel spine you bred into him when he defends something he values. He shook his head. Irina, you taught him to protect what's his at any cost. Why are you surprised when he applies that lesson to his personal life? Sergei nodded slowly. He has a point. Victor is doing exactly what we would do, standing his ground. Irina looked between her brothers and her son, something crumbling in her expression. You'll regret this, she said finally, but the venom had drained from her voice. That girl will hurt you. They always do. Maybe, Victor said quietly. But that's my risk to take. Irina gathered her purse and walked to the door. Before she left, she turned back one more time. I won't apologize, not today, maybe not ever, but... She met Alana's eyes directly for the first time with something other than contempt. If you hurt my son, you'll learn exactly where he got his ruthlessness. Then she was gone. Alana's legs gave out and she sank back into her chair. Victor knelt beside her immediately, his hand finding hers. Are you all right? I just watched you go to war with your mother over me, Alana said faintly. I'm the opposite of all right. Dmitri chuckled. I like her. She's got spine. Does this mean the meeting is over? Alexei asked. Because I have a shipment coming in from... Yes, it's over, Victor said, never taking his eyes off Alana. And we're not discussing business right now. The three uncles filed out, each patting Victor on the shoulder as they passed. Sergei paused at the door. For what it's worth, nephew, your father would have approved. He always said the measure of a man is what he's willing to fight for when it costs him something. He smiled. You just fought for her when it could have cost you everything. That means something. When they were alone, Victor helped Alana to her feet and pulled her into his arms. She should have pulled away, should have maintained boundaries, should have done 1,000 things other than melting against his chest and letting him hold her while she shook. You're insane, she mumbled against his shirt. Completely insane. Probably, Victor agreed, his arms tightening around her. But I meant every word I said in there. Your mother will never accept me. She will or she won't. Either way, I'm done letting her dictate my life. He pulled back enough to look at her face. I'm not asking you to fall in love with me tomorrow, Alana. I know it's too soon. I know we barely know each other. But I am asking you to give me a chance to show you that this world, my world, isn't all cold and cruel. Some of us are capable of warmth, of caring, of seeing beyond skin color and bank accounts to the person underneath. Alana searched his face, seeing the vulnerability there, the hope he was trying to hide behind his usual stoic mask. One date, she heard herself say. One real date. Not in your hotel or your penthouse. Somewhere normal. If you can handle being in my world, maybe I can learn to navigate yours. Victor's smile was like the sun breaking through storm clouds. Deal. But as he led her out of the conference room, neither of them saw the figure watching from the shadows of the hallway, a beautiful blonde woman with cold eyes and a phone pressed to her ear. He chose her, Anastasia Volkov said quietly in Russian. Yes, I'm sure, he just destroyed his relationship with his mother to defend some black cleaning woman. A pause. No, I'm not giving up. Victor and I are destined to be together. If his mother couldn't separate them, I'll just have to be more creative. Victor has chosen Alana, but the battle has just begun. Who is the mysterious woman watching from the shadows? What lengths will she go to destroy their budding relationship? The danger is only starting. Keep watching to see how love battles against obsession. The normal date Victor had agreed to turned into a picnic in Central Park with takeout Thai food and a blanket that probably cost more than Alana's monthly rent. But he'd tried, and that's what mattered. They'd spent 3 hours talking, really talking, about everything from Alana's daughter Lily, she wants to be an astronaut or a princess, she can't decide, to Victor's childhood in Russia, cold in every sense of the word. They'd laughed, something Alana suspected Victor didn't do nearly enough, and when he'd walked her back to her modest apartment in Queens, he'd kissed her forehead and left without pushing for anything more. That had been a week ago, a week of daily flower deliveries, always sunflowers, after she'd mentioned they were her favorite. Text messages that ranged from sweet to protective to absolutely filthy. And 2 more dates that had left Alana more confused and more certain in equal measure. Confused because this shouldn't work. They were from different worlds, different backgrounds, different everything. Certain because when Victor looked at her like she was the only person in the world who mattered, all the logical reasons they shouldn't be together evaporated like morning mist. She was on her way to meet him at a gallery opening, Victor's attempt to introduce her slowly to his world, when her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Alana Price?" A woman's voice, smooth and cultured. "Yes, who is this?" "A friend. Someone who wants to help you avoid a terrible mistake." A pause. "You're dating Victor Kozlov." Alana's grip tightened on her phone. "I don't discuss my personal life with strangers." "Smart, but I'm not a stranger, not really. My name is Anastasia Volkov, and Victor and I have been promised to each other since we were children." The name triggered a memory. Irina mentioning this exact woman during that awful confrontation. "If you're calling to threaten me..." "Threaten? No, darling. I'm calling to warn you." Anastasia's voice dripped false concern. "You seem like a nice woman, a good mother. You don't deserve what's about to happen to you." "And what's that?" "Victor Kozlov is a dangerous man from a dangerous world. The people he does business with, they don't believe in mixed-race relationships. They don't believe in weakness. And you, Alana, you're his greatest weakness." Anastasia let that sink in. There are already whispers, plans, people who see your relationship as an insult, an opportunity, or both. Alana's blood ran cold. "You're lying." "Am I? Ask yourself why someone like Victor would choose you. Yes, you're beautiful and clearly special, but Victor is a pragmatist above all else. He knows you make him vulnerable. He knows your existence puts you in danger." A pause. "So why would he continue seeing you unless he's using you for something?" "Using me for what?" "That's the question, isn't it?" Anastasia laughed softly. "Maybe it's rebellion against his mother. Maybe it's to make me jealous. Maybe he genuinely believes he cares about you, but we both know how this ends. Eventually, the danger will become too real, and Victor will do what he always does, cut out anything that threatens his empire. Can you really afford to risk your daughter's safety for a man you barely know?" The mention of Lily made Alana's stomach twist. "Leave my daughter out of this." "I'm trying to, sweetheart. That's my entire point. Victor's world consumes everything it touches. Your daughter, your safety, your future. All of it becomes collateral damage. Is that really what you want?" Before Alana could respond, Anastasia continued, "I'm going to text you a link. It's surveillance footage from 3 nights ago. Watch it. See the real Victor Kozlov. Then ask yourself if you're prepared to live in his world. Because once you're in, there's no easy way out." The call ended. 30 seconds later, a text appeared with a video link. Alana's hands shook as she pressed play. The footage showed Victor in what looked like a warehouse, surrounded by men in suits. They were speaking Russian, but the body language was clear. This was a negotiation that had gone wrong. Suddenly, Victor's hand shot out, grabbing one man by the throat and slamming him against a concrete pillar. The violence was swift, brutal, and shocking. Alana had known intellectually that Victor was a crime boss, but seeing it was different. The video ended with Victor wiping blood off his knuckles with a handkerchief, his expression utterly cold. Alana stood frozen on the sidewalk, people flowing around her like water around a stone. Her phone rang again, Victor this time. "I'm outside the gallery," he said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. "Where are you?" "Victor." Her voice shook. "What did you do 3 nights ago?" Silence. Then carefully, "Why are you asking?" "Because someone just sent me a video of you breaking a man's arm in a warehouse." The quality of Victor's silence changed, becoming sharp, dangerous. "Who sent you that video?" "Does it matter? Is it real?" "Alana, where are you right now? Answer my question." Tears burned behind her eyes. "Is that who you really are? That cold, violent man?" "Yes," his answer was blunt, honest. "That's part of who I am. That's the man who runs an organization that operates outside the law. That's the man I have to be to survive in my world." A pause. "But that's not all of who I am. Not with you." "How am I supposed to believe that? How am I supposed to trust that you won't—" She choked on the words. I have a daughter, Victor. A little girl who depends on me. How can I risk bringing your world into her life? You can't, Victor said quietly, and the resignation in his voice broke something in Alana's chest. You're right to be afraid. You're right to protect Lily. I should never have dragged you into this. So what are you saying? I'm saying... Victor exhaled slowly. I'm saying that I care about you too much to put you in danger. If you want to walk away, I'll protect you from a distance. Make sure you and Lily are safe. But I won't chase you, Alana. Not if being with me terrifies you. Alana closed her eyes, tears finally spilling over. I'm not terrified of you. I'm terrified of losing myself in you, of caring about someone who could disappear tomorrow because of the life he leads. I know, and I'm sorry. His voice was rough. For what it's worth, these past few weeks with you have been the best of my life. You made me remember what it feels like to be human. He was letting her go. This powerful, dangerous man was giving her an exit, and Alana realized with crystal clarity that she didn't want it. I'm not walking away, she said firmly, but I need you to promise me something. Anything. Promise me you'll never lie to me about the danger. If my being with you puts Lily at risk, you tell me immediately. And promise me that you'll never become that cold man with me. I need to know that what we have is real. It's the realest thing in my life, Victor said without hesitation, and I promise both things. Then tell me where you are, because I'm coming to that gallery, and we're facing your world together. Alana. Together, Victor, or not at all. She heard him moving, heard car doors slamming. Stay where you are. I'm coming to you. 5 minutes later, a black SUV pulled up beside her. Victor stepped out, and the expression on his face, relief mixed with disbelief mixed with hope, made Alana's decision feel right. You're sure? He asked, cupping her face in his hands. Because once you step fully into my world, there's no going back. People will target you to get to me. Your life will change. I'm not sure about anything, Alana admitted, except that I want to try. With you. For real. Victor kissed her then, right there on the street in Queens, with his security team watching from the SUV and random strangers passing by. It was nothing like the gentle forehead kiss from before. This was claiming, passionate, a promise and a possession all at once. When they broke apart, Alana was breathless. Get in the car, Victor said. I'm taking you somewhere. The gallery? Forget the gallery. I want to show you something more important. They drove for 20 minutes before pulling up outside a beautiful brownstone in Brooklyn. Victor led her inside to a fully furnished apartment that looked like it had been designed with care and attention. What is this? Alana asked. It's for you and Lily. Victor watched her face carefully. Fully paid for. Security system installed. 24-hour protection if you want it. And completely in your name. No strings attached. Alana turned to him slowly. You bought me an apartment. I want you safe. I want Lily safe. This neighborhood has good schools, low crime, and I own the building so I can ensure the security. He moved closer. But it's yours, Alana, whether you stay with me or not. I meant it when I said I'd protect you from a distance if necessary. This is too much. It's not enough, Victor interrupted. You changed my life by crashing into me and looking at me like a person instead of a monster. Let me change yours. Let me take care of you while you figure out if this us is worth the risk. Alana looked around the beautiful apartment, imagining Lily's face when she saw her own bedroom, imagining the two of them safe and comfortable for the first time in years. On one condition, she said finally. Name it. I still work. Maybe not at the hotel anymore, but I work. I'm not going to be kept. I'm going to contribute, to build something for Lily on my own terms. She met his eyes. I appreciate the protection, but I won't lose myself. Victor's smile was fierce and proud. Deal. In fact, I know someone opening a chain of high-end boutiques. She's looking for a manager. Interested? You're not offering me a job at some company you secretly own? I don't own it. I'm just an investor. And yes, I pulled strings to get you the interview, but you'll get the job on your own merit. He pulled her close. I told you I see your strength. I'm not trying to diminish it. I'm trying to give it room to grow. Alana wrapped her arms around his neck. You're going to spoil me. That's the plan. Your mother is going to hate this. My mother is learning to adjust her expectations. Victor's expression darkened slightly. She's also being investigated by my uncles for financial irregularities in how she was running the hotel. Turns out she was skimming from the employee healthcare fund. Alana's eyes widened. Seriously? Seriously? I may have suspected for a while, but needed proof. Her firing you without cause gave me the excuse to dig deeper. He shrugged. She'll be fine, but she's lost her position of power. She can't hurt you anymore. And Anastasia Volkov. Victor's jaw clenched. What about her? She's the one who sent me that video. Called to warn me away from you. Alana studied his face. She said you two were promised to each other. We were when I was 12 and had no say in the matter. Victor's eyes blazed. I broke that engagement 7 years ago. Anastasia has refused to accept it. She's dangerous, Alana, obsessed. I need you to tell me immediately if she contacts you again. Is she a threat to Lily? She's a threat to anything that makes me happy, which means yes, potentially. Victor's expression turned deadly serious, but I'm handling it. Anastasia's father owes me several favors. She'll back off or face consequences from her own family. This is the reality of your world, Alana said quietly. Constant threats. Constant vigilance. Yes. Victor didn't sugarcoat it. It's dangerous. It's complicated. But I swear to you, I'll keep you and Lily safe. That's my priority above everything else. Above business, above family politics, above my own life. Alana believed him. Maybe that made her foolish, but she believed the intensity in his eyes, the protective fury in his voice. Then we try, she said, for real, together. Victor kissed her again, softer this time, reverent. Thank you for not running. Thank you for not letting me go easily. Alana smiled against his lips. Now show me Lily's room. I want to see what my daughter's going to wake up to when we move in this weekend. 6 months later, Alana stood in the kitchen of the Brooklyn brownstone, music playing softly while she made breakfast. Lily sat at the table, drawing pictures of Victor the Dragon Slayer, her newest obsession, and sunlight streamed through the windows. The door opened, and Victor walked in looking exhausted but happy. He'd been in Moscow for 3 days handling business, and Alana had missed him with an intensity that still surprised her. "Victor!" Lily launched herself at him, and he caught her easily, spinning her around. "Princessa, did you miss me?" "So much. Mommy said you'd bring me a present." "Lily," Alana scolded. But Victor was already pulling out a nesting doll set, painted with astronaut princesses. "For my favorite future space explorer." While Lily examined her gift with squeals of delight, Victor moved to Alana and pulled her into his arms. "I missed you," he murmured against her hair. "I missed you too." Alana pulled back to study his face. How bad was it? Handled. Anastasia tried one more time to cause problems. Her father shut her down. She's being sent to Paris to run the family's operations there, far away from us. Good. Alana cupped his face, thumbs brushing over the stubble darkening his jaw. And your mother? Still adjusting, but she sent Lily a birthday present last week, so progress. Victor smiled slightly. She's learning that I meant what I said. You and Lily are my priority. We love you too, Alana said, and watched his eyes go soft the way they always did when she said those words. In 6 months, their lives had transformed. Alana now managed 3 boutiques and was making more money than she'd ever dreamed possible. Lily attended an excellent private school where she was thriving, and Victor had gradually introduced them to his world, carefully, protectively, but genuinely. It wasn't perfect. There were still threats, still complications, still moments when Alana questioned the wisdom of loving a man who lived in the shadows. But there were also mornings like this with music and laughter, and a man who looked at her daughter like she was precious, who looked at Alana like she was his entire world. "Marry me," Victor said suddenly. Alana froze. "What? Marry me?" He pulled a small box from his pocket, opening it to reveal a stunning diamond ring. "I've been carrying this for a month, waiting for the right moment. But I realize there is no perfect moment. There's just us choosing each other every day." Victor. Tears filled Alana's eyes. I love you, Alana Price. I love your strength, your courage, your heart. I love how you love Lily. I love that you see me, all of me, and choose to stay anyway. He glanced at Lily, who'd stopped examining her dolls and was watching with wide eyes. I want to be your husband. I want to be Lily's father in every way that matters. I want to build a life with you that's bigger than my empire, warmer than my world, better than anything I had before you. Can Victor be my daddy? Lily asked suddenly. Alana laughed through her tears. Would you like that, baby? Yes, then I can be a princess and a dragon slayer. Victor grinned. That's a solid argument, princessa. His eyes returned to Alana. What do you say, love? Take a chance on the reformed crime boss. Reformed is a strong word, Alana teased. Reforming. Actively working on it. Motivated by the best incentive I've ever had. He kissed her knuckles. Marry me, Alana. Let me spend the rest of my life proving you made the right choice when you didn't run. Alana looked at this man, dangerous and gentle, ruthless and tender, powerful and vulnerable, and knew her answer. Yes, absolutely yes. Victor slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her so thoroughly that Lily started giggling. When they broke apart, all three of them were smiling. Later, after Lily was in bed and they were curled together on the couch, Alana asked the question that had been on her mind. Do you ever regret it, choosing me? Dealing with all the complications? Victor turned to look at her with those ice-blue eyes that now melted whenever they landed on her face. Never. Not for a single second. He brushed a curl away from her face. You taught me that power without love is just loneliness in expensive suits. You taught me that the strongest thing I could do was fight for something good instead of just against everything bad. He kissed her forehead. I was frozen before you, Alana. You brought me back to life. We brought each other back to life, Alana corrected. You showed me I was worthy of protection, of care, of a love that doesn't diminish me. Always, Victor promised. For the rest of our lives. And as they sat together in the comfortable silence of a home filled with love, neither of them thought about the different worlds they came from anymore. They only thought about the world they were building together, a world where a black woman from Queens and a Russian crime boss could find home in each other's arms, a world where love conquered even the coldest hearts. What did you think of Victor and Alana's story? Could you feel the chemistry between them? Did you want to reach through the screen when Irina humiliated Alana? This is just one story of forbidden love overcoming impossible odds. If you loved watching Victor fight for Alana despite his dangerous world, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more emotional Mafia romance stories. Comment below. Would you take a chance on someone from a completely different world if the connection was this powerful? What would you have done in Alana's position when Anastasia called? And if you can't get enough of protective Mafia bosses falling for strong women, check out our playlist of similar stories. Trust me, you won't regret it. Hit that notification bell so you never miss when we upload a new story. Next week, She Pretended to be Poor. The billionaire's revenge changed everything. Thank you for watching, and remember, true love doesn't see boundaries, it only sees hearts worth fighting for.